Most people think Japan is just neon lights and ancient temples, but after traveling the entire country, I found places that feel like a different planet. Today, I'm counting down the 10 best places to visit. And stick around until the end, because my number one pick isn't Japan's biggest city or its most famous landmark. It's the place that completely changed the way I see this incredible country. Hiroshima is one of those places that quietly changes you. Before I visited, I expected a city defined by its past. Instead, I found a place filled with life, warmth, and an incredible sense of hope. Of course, the Peace Memorial Park and the Atomic Bomb Dome are the heart of any visit. Walking through these sites is a powerful reminder of history, but what makes Hiroshima special is the message it leaves you with. It's not just about remembering what happened. It's about seeing how a city rebuilt itself into one of Japan's most welcoming destinations. Once you've explored the memorials, take time to enjoy the rest of the city. Walk along the rivers, browse the shopping streets, and don't leave without trying Hiroshima-style okonomiyaki. Unlike the Osaka version, the ingredients are layered instead of mixed together, giving it a unique texture and flavor. If you're looking for a destination that's meaningful as well as memorable, Hiroshima absolutely deserves a place on your itinerary. The first thing you'll probably notice in Nara isn't a temple. It's a deer. Hundreds of them roam freely through the city's parks, casually walking beside visitors as if they've always belonged there. It's a scene that's both charming and uniquely Japanese. But Nara is far more than its famous deer. This was Japan's very first capital, and it's packed with history you can actually walk through. Step inside Tadaiji Temple, and you'll find one of the largest bronze Buddha statues in the world, housed inside an enormous wooden building that's impressive even before you walk through the doors. One tip I'd give first-time visitors is to slow down after leaving Nara Park. Wander the quieter streets, explore the smaller temples, and take your time. Those peaceful moments often become the ones you'll remember most. For anyone interested in Japanese history, culture, or photography, Nara offers an experience that's difficult to find anywhere else. Some destinations are all about checking famous landmarks off your list. Hakone is the exact opposite. This is the kind of place where the journey becomes just as rewarding as the destination itself. Your day might begin with a cruise across Lake Ashi, continue with a ride on the Hakone ropeway above steaming volcanic valleys, and end in a traditional onsen where you're surrounded by mountain views. And yes, if the weather cooperates, you'll also be treated to some of the most beautiful views of Mount Fuji in all of Japan. What makes Hakone stand out isn't any single attraction. It's the way everything fits together. The slower pace, the fresh mountain air, and the chance to experience a traditional ryokan create a side of Japan that feels worlds away from Tokyo's energy. If your schedule allows, spend the night instead of rushing through on a day trip. After the tour buses leave, Hakone becomes quieter, more peaceful, and in my opinion, even more magical. If you think Japan is all about bustling cities and ancient temples, Hokkaido will completely change that impression. Japan's northernmost island feels wilder, quieter, and refreshingly different. Instead of crowded streets, you'll find dramatic mountains, volcanic lakes, rolling flower fields, and some of the freshest seafood in the country. In winter, it's a frozen wonderland for skiers. In summer, it's an explosion of purple lavender and cool mountain air. It's two different worlds in one place. Winter is when Hokkaido grabs the world's attention. Resorts like Niseko attract skiers from across the globe with legendary powder snow, while the Sapporo Snow Festival transforms the city into a giant outdoor gallery of incredible ice sculptures. But here's what surprised me most: summer might be just as rewarding. Lavender fields in Furano burst into color. Hiking trails open up across the national parks, and the cooler temperatures offer a welcome escape from Japan's humid summer heat. If you're planning a second trip to Japan, or simply want to experience a side of the country that feels completely different, Hokkaido is hard to beat. The first time you see Okinawa's turquoise water, it's easy to forget you're still in Japan. Located far to the south, This chain of subtropical islands has its own culture, cuisine, and pace of life. It feels more like a tropical escape than the Japan most travelers imagine. The beaches are the obvious draw, but Okinawa offers much more than a place to relax. You can snorkel above colorful coral reefs, dive into crystal-clear waters, kayak through mangroves, or explore castles that tell the story of the former Ryukyu kingdom. One thing I really appreciate about Okinawa is how unhurried everything feels. After exploring Japan's busy cities, spending a few days here almost feels like a vacation within your vacation. If you're dreaming of ending your Japan trip somewhere peaceful, warm, and incredibly scenic, Okinawa is an easy recommendation. After you've relaxed on the beaches of the south, it's time to head back to the mainland for the best food you'll ever eat. Ask any local where to find Japan's best food, and there's a good chance they'll point you toward Osaka. This city has earned the nickname Japan's Kitchen, and after a single evening exploring Dotonbori, it's easy to understand why. The streets are filled with sizzling food stalls, bright neon signs, and an energy that's impossible not to enjoy. Whether you're trying freshly made takoyaki, crispy kushikatsu, or Osaka-style okonomiyaki, every corner seems to offer something delicious. But Osaka isn't just about eating. Spend time exploring Osaka Castle, browse the lively Kiramon Market, or simply wander through neighborhoods where locals gather after work. The city has a friendly, down-to-earth personality that feels noticeably different from Tokyo. Personally, I think Osaka is the easiest city in Japan to simply enjoy without having a strict itinerary. Sometimes the best experience is just following the smell of great food and seeing where it leads. Osaka is incredible for food, but wait until you see the traditional mountain village I have saved for my number one spot. It's the exact opposite of this city energy. There aren't many cities in the world that can make you feel like you've stepped into the future. Tokyo does exactly that. From the organized chaos of Shibuya Crossing to the glowing streets of Shinjuku, the city never seems to slow down. Yet somehow, hidden between the skyscrapers, you'll also find peaceful shrines, quiet gardens, and neighborhoods that preserve the charm of old Japan. That's what makes Tokyo so fascinating. Every district feels like a completely different destination. One day you're exploring the historic streets of Asakusa, the next you're shopping in Ginza, discovering anime culture in Akihabara, or taking in the skyline from Tokyo Skytree. Here's my biggest piece of advice. Don't try to see everything. Tokyo is one of those cities that's better experienced neighborhood by neighborhood. Slow down, explore on foot whenever you can, and leave room for unexpected discoveries. Those moments often become the highlights of the trip. We've reached the final 3, and this is where the countdown really comes together. These aren't just some of Japan's most beautiful destinations. They're the places that define the country in completely different ways. And my number one pick is the destination that, to me, captures the side of Japan too many first-time visitors never get to see. No image represents Japan more than Mount Fuji. But here's something many travelers don't realize. The best way to experience Japan's most famous mountain isn't from the summit. It's from the Fuji 5 Lakes region, where Fuji becomes part of the landscape rather than just a destination. On a clear day, the reflections on Lake Kawaguchi are absolutely stunning. In spring, cherry blossoms frame the mountain perfectly, while autumn brings brilliant red and golden leaves that make the scenery even more spectacular. One thing I love about this area is that there's no pressure to rush. You can ride the panoramic ropeway, cycle around the lakes, visit traditional villages, or simply sit at a lakeside cafe and admire the view. Sometimes the best travel memories come from slowing down instead of trying to do more. If photography is high on your priority list, consider staying overnight. Early mornings usually offer the clearest views before clouds begin to gather later in the day. For first-time visitors, this is one of those places that somehow feels even more beautiful in person than it does in photographs. There are places you visit, and then there are places you feel. Kyoto belongs in the second category. For more than 1,000 years, this was the heart of Japan, and that heritage still shapes the city today. Every temple, wooden alleyway, traditional tea house, and peaceful garden tells part of a much bigger story. Of course, you'll want to experience famous places like Fushimi Inari Shrine, the Hiroshima Bamboo Grove, Kinkakuji, and the historic streets of Gion. But I've found the real magic often happens between those landmarks. It might be discovering a quiet temple with almost no visitors, hearing the sound of a bamboo fountain in a hidden garden, or simply walking through a neighborhood before the crowds arrive. Here's my recommendation. Wake up early. Kyoto changes completely in the morning. The streets are quieter, the temples feel more peaceful, and you'll enjoy a side of the city that many visitors never experience. If you ask me, Kyoto isn't just one of Japan's best destinations. It's one of the most unforgettable cultural cities anywhere in the world. You might have expected Tokyo, Kyoto, or even Mount Fuji to take the top spot. But the destination that left the biggest impression on me was somewhere completely different. The Japanese Alps reveal a side of Japan that many first-time visitors never see. In Takayama, beautifully preserved wooden streets, family-run shops, and traditional sake breweries make it feel as though time is slowed down. Then, less than an hour away, Shirakawa-go looks like something straight out of a storybook. Its steep, thatched-roof farmhouses sit surrounded by mountains, creating one of the most picturesque landscapes in the country. What makes this region so special isn't just its beauty, it's its authenticity. Life moves at a slower pace here. Instead of rushing between famous attractions, you spend your time wandering quiet streets, chatting with local shop owners, staying in traditional inns, and taking in scenery that changes dramatically with every season. If your dream trip to Japan is about discovering something beyond the typical tourist route, I honestly don't think there's a better destination. To me, the Japanese Alps capture everything that makes Japan unforgettable. Stunning landscapes, deep traditions, genuine hospitality, and experiences that stay with you long after the trip is over. And quick heads up, I've added some of my favorite travel essentials in the description that can make your trip a lot easier. Definitely worth a quick look. Don't try to visit every destination on this list in one trip. Japan is larger than it looks on a map, and spending less time on trains usually means enjoying each place much more. If you're visiting several cities, the Shinkansen isn't just transportation, it's part of the experience. Booking seats in advance during busy travel seasons can save you a lot of stress. Mix big cities with smaller destinations. Pairing places like Tokyo or Osaka with Hakone or the Japanese Alps creates a much more balanced itinerary. If you're planning to stay in a traditional ryokan, reserve it as early as possible. The most popular ones often sell out months ahead, especially during cherry blossom and autumn foliage seasons. Finally, leave a little room for the unexpected. Some of Japan's best memories aren't found on a checklist. They happen when you wander down a quiet street, discover a small local cafe, or stumble upon a hidden shrine. Japan isn't a country you visit just once. Every destination has its own personality, its own traditions, and its own unforgettable experiences. Whether you're drawn to vibrant cities, peaceful temples, mountain landscapes, tropical islands, or incredible food, there's always another side of Japan waiting to be discovered. And that's what makes it one of the most rewarding travel destinations in the world. If you enjoyed this guide, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Eagleye Traveler, and turn on notifications for more travel guides across Japan, Asia, and beyond. Now it's your turn. Which destination in Japan would you visit first? And if you've already been there, which place do you think deserves a spot on this list? Share your thoughts in the comments below.